Hi, welcome to my video for day one of Cheltenham 2022. It's a day that everybody looks forward to that loves national hunt racing. It's exciting to preview day one. Slightly smaller fields than most people would have expected, but really competitive racing, very exciting racing. I made 20 episodes of Cheltenham chart assessing the horses as they made their way to tomorrow and the rest of the week, and now the days are here, the races are here, and we can actually see what's going to race against each other and how these horses will fare. Only 3 bets have been put up in the videos so far. We normally bet out of a bank of £400, and there will be bets put up hopefully the night before races. £95 been staked so far out of our mythical 400. 4 years of the video's been made and 4 years profit, so a bit of pressure on me to actually produce another profit. Well, I put pressure on myself, but please gamble responsibly if you are backing any horse from any video, not just my own. So I'll talk about the assessment of the 2 horses we've put up, a possible bet that I'm thinking about for tomorrow, sort of running against the horses we've backed to try and sort of cover ourselves. And I'll talk about a small lucky 15 which I'm probably going to put off, but it's not included in the bets. It's just something for fun. We did it 2 years ago where we all put up lucky 15s for each day of Cheltenham. Nobody managed to get 4 winners, but hopefully this year someone will. So I'll just give you my assessment of each race, the small lucky 15, and my assessment of the 2 bets we've placed so far. So getting on to it, I will give a selection where I can. If there's really no bet in the race, I'll say so. And I'll give you my selection. Any bets that I'm going to put up, which are, bets I'm putting a decent sum of money on, are on the bet videos. We've only had 2 so far this season. 3, sorry. They were Tellmesomethinggiel, Vanillier, and the nice guy. So getting on with the Supreme now. Looks like 5 really big challengers in this. Sir Gerhard's ducked the challenge. I'm not sure he's gone into a much easier race, and with rain forecast tomorrow, he could perhaps be wishing he was in here on the better ground. Of the runners, I'm against Constitution Hill. Now, there's nothing to say that I should be against him. His form is decent. I just worry about it being on very soft ground in the main, and I also worry about the fact that he's never been in any sort of scrap yet, and it could come as a bit of a shock to him to get into a battle, and by the time he realises that he's in a battle, he could be beaten. So for me, just at the prices, Constitution Hill not for me. John Bon has been battle hardened. He's got good form. He's beaten the right horses in Britain for sure. If he doesn't get busy, he'd definitely have a huge chance. Dysart Dynamo is very free. He could get busy as well. I'd be against Dysart Dynamo as well, especially with Townend, who I've never felt really settles horses well. I will say that, I'm not really a big fan of Townend. A lot of the horses Townend wins on are 15, 20 length winners that, most jockeys could win on. People will say I'm wrong about that, but he's got to settle this horse out in front. It's a very good field. He's got a bit of a job on his hands, and at the prices I'd have to be against as well. Kilcrat is a horse I love. I feel he should have beaten Sir Gerhard twice last season. His hurdling campaign was not started well. He was beaten twice. He came back to form last time. He's got Patrick Mullins on. Patrick's done well on this horse when he's ridden him, unlike Townend, who's been beaten on him 3 times. I wonder if maybe he just gets on better with Patrick Mullins. I do note that Patrick's grandmother's coming over for the race. This horse is named after her hometown. She's 92, so to be making the trip to Cheltenham's a bit of a big deal. I do give the horse a chance. I certainly give it an each way chance. I do wonder if he's back to form. you'd have to give him an each way chance. But I think in this race, my selection would be Mighty Potter, who just seems certain to run his race. He's won a Grade 1, perhaps slightly fortunate to win by so far, but I think he's got a very solid chance. He's certain to run his race for me. Gordon Elliott didn't run him at the Dublin Racing Festival. I tend to like that. And for me, it would be Mighty Potter. It wouldn't be a huge bet or a very strong selection. It would be Mighty Potter. Each way, he'd be my selection in the Supreme. I really found the Arkle very difficult to assess. I have to say, I think the Irish Arkle will be the key to the race. I'm not a huge fan of Edward Stone. Rightly or wrongly, you know, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. I'll take Edward Stone on. I don't like the British Challenge. If I'm wrong, then I'll have this race completely wrong just on that, because I've almost dismissed Edward Stone. In the Irish Challenge, it's very difficult. I think the Irish Arkle holds the key. Hot on Colours fell, which makes it more difficult to assess. I think St. Sam was sacrificed a little bit to make sure Riviere de Tel didn't get an easy lead. I think she was compromised by that, but I don't think they're going to be able to sacrifice something in this race so easily with the pace in the race from Magic Days already. She's got a chance, as does Cour Sublime, but I do have it perhaps between the front two and the Irish Arkle. And although at the time I thought Riviere de Tel would reverse form, the more I look at it, I wonder if Blue Lord was perhaps a little bit undercooked for that race. He didn't go away once he'd taken the lead, but he still held on even though he did hamper Riviere de Tel. It's a very difficult race. The gun to my head, I would just take Blue Lord at the prices, but it's not an easy race to assess, and I did find this one very difficult. In the Ultima, I shortlisted 3 for this race. Now, you could probably shortlist 10. I do wonder if Frodon will get loose on the reed. If he does, and Bryony can dictate the pace, he could be one with a very decent chance. You would not be dismissing this horse out of hand. I don't think you can go far wrong with Vintage Clouds, who's been very close or won this race for the past 4 years. He's got an ideal prep this season. I think he has a real chance at 20-25 to 1. You couldn't write him off. I certainly think he's got a big chance. The one I probably liked the most was Noble Yeats. The worry was he was pushed out to 16 to 1 this morning by Bet365. I wonder what they know to be pushing him quite that far out, because he's only 9s and 10s elsewhere. He was probably the one I liked the most in this race. Although I think if you look for a really solid one, you look for Vintage Clouds. I would certainly be looking at Vintage Clouds or Noble Yeats. If the money comes for Noble Yeats, I think he's got a great chance. Don't worry about Sam Whaley-Cohen being in the plate. He's won the Gold Cup as an amateur, so he's definitely not an inconvenience to the horse. So I think even though I've shortlisted 3, I think my selection will definitely come from either Noble Yeats or Vintage Clouds. The Champion Hurdle, I don't think Honeysuckle's beat a whole lot this season. She's done it in great fashion. Henry de Bromhead's just coming into form. Well, hopefully he is. But I have to say, at the prices, I think I would just go with Appreciate It. Maybe for a small bet. And Adagio in the without market. I think Adagio's been looked after with this race in mind. Appreciate It's just coming here for one big shot at Honeysuckle. It's going to be hard to win it first time out. But I think I'd just about side with him at 9 to 2. And I'll definitely look at Adagio in the without market, especially if you can get 3 places. That's my assessment of Champion Hurdle. It's very difficult. I'm not really that keen on Tehupu, if I'm honest. Even though I could have got this horse very wrong. He could be the one to really put up to the mare. I don't know if he's going to be able to give her £7 as a 5-year-old. Yeah, I think I'll stick with Appreciate It as a small win bet and Adagio in the without market, especially if you can get 3 places. The mayor's race is the race where we had one of our ante-post bets. We've placed £30 on of our £400 bank on Tellmesomethinggiel. The money has come for her this morning. I hope it's well placed. She is 100 to 30. We bet 365 still, but it's blue all over apart from 365 who've taken a stand against her, and Unibet who've taken a stand against her all season. I hope she'll run a big race. This has been the target all season, I believe. She's got her ground. She's got Rachel Blackmore. If Henry's in good form, then she will have a very decent chance. I didn't like the fact that Echoes and Rain was left in this. She has to have a chance. The huge buzz horse at Calantra is Queensbrook. They have been talking about this horse. This horse really is fancied by Gordon Elliott's team to win tomorrow. I have already placed my bet on Tellmesomethinggiel. I have to say, if there's any horse in this race that worries me, it's Queensbrook, because of the confidence from the Elliott team. This is definitely one of the big buzz horses at Calantra at the moment. She is tempting me into perhaps putting a fourth bet up on Haran Runwell Fred as a double, just a smaller bet, because the vibes from Calantra are really strong on her, and Runwell Fred seems to be another one that they seem really keen on against our bet Vanillier. But I still do believe in Tellmesomethinggiel. I'm delighted to see money for her, because the last two times she's run this season, which were only prep races, she has drifted badly. Now, there are a lot of chances in this race. Heaven Help Us has got a chance, Mrs. Milner, Stormy Ireland. Burning Victory seems very out of favour in the betting at the moment, perhaps because of the confidence from Calantra that Queensbrook can reverse that form. She was giving £3 to Burning Victory. It's a race that you could go round in circles with. Mrs. Milner for Paul Nolan has clearly got a good chance after winning last season's Pertemps. Last season's Pertemps winners in this, last season's Coral Cup winners in this, last season's Mayor's Novice Hurdle winners in this. So it's a very tough race. I'm really, really hoping that Tellmesomethinggiel can win this and take away the worry for the whole meeting of trying to get a profit. It's great to see the money for her, but please, when you're watching this race, remember that there's a big word for Queensbrook, and Echoes in Rain if she stays over 2 miles forward, which I'm not convinced she will, and it should be quite a decent pace as well, which will make it tougher for her to stay, but it may mean that she settles better. But for me, I have to stick with Tellmesomethinggiel, but I am seriously worried about the word coming out of Calantra that Queensbrook is flying. The Boodles is a really, really difficult race. I mean, it really is a take your pick, and I can't be pushing people into backing horses for this. It is extremely, extremely difficult to put horses up for this race. I've been impressed with loads of these horses. Gaelic Warrior looks like he's £10-15 well in. The Tide Turn's been running in graded races last time out. I thought Brazil blew his handicap mark when he won, but there are so many. I have talked about HMS Seahorse a few times. I think it's interesting to see Gavin Cromwell's horse in here as well, White Pepper. But in truth, I can't make a selection in this race. It's far, far out with my pay grade to be trying to pick the winner of the Boodles, because there's probably 16 out of 24 that are well handicapped. And which one's the best handicapped, I can't say. So I'll leave this race alone. The final race is the National Hunt Chase. We've backed Vanillier £40 to win out of the £400 bank at 15 to 2. A good jockey booking in Derek O'Connor. People are dismissing his chance a little bit on early season runs. Cromwell wasn't in good form over Christmas, so Andy was giving weight away as well. So I wouldn't be too quick to judge him on that run. I've backed him on his Albert Bartlett run. I hope he'll jump well, and I certainly think he can put it up to the two principals. It's interesting to see on the ropes running this. It's not a usual thing for Shively Park to put in an outsider. I don't think his jumping to the right is going to help in this race. Certainly the distance will, but I've noticed that he jumps to his right, and going left-handed, that could put him in a bad position. He also has a tendency to throw in a really bad blunder. He's got his chance. Run Well Fled, for me, is another buzz horse out of Calantra that they really seem to fancy. He's being well backed at the moment. If I did put the double off, it would be Queen's Brook and Run Well Fled against the two of mine. Basically hoping that if both of mine are beaten, that it's beaten by the Calantra house horses, who seem very strong in the betting. I don't know if I'll put that bet off or not. I am starting to warm to Tellmesomethinggiel again. But for this race, I think Run Well Fled does look very, very well fancied. He has got an ideal profile, being a second season chaser, but he's only 2-1. Stadler's only had 2 runs over fences. He's either going to be an absolute superstar to be winning this after 2 wins, two wins over fences, because it's normally a well-run horse who wins this, not usually one that's lightly raced. I'd tend to be against him. I hope Vanillier runs a really big race for us. I think we've got a lot in our favour. Cromwell's got a good record at the track. We've got a good jockey. His early season form, I think, has just been a build-up for this, and he's been giving weight away. And if he jumps well, he has to have a serious chance. We just go in here. We've got a decent price on the horse. We've got 7.5-1. He's probably going to go off about 5s tomorrow, so we're in decent shape on the bet. To summarise day 1, I would probably put a small lucky 15 off. That would be on Mighty Potter, Blue Lord, Noble Yeats, and Queen's Brook. We have 2 bets off already. Tellmesomethinggiel and Vanillier. Do worry about the strong vibes from Calantra for both their horses against us in Queen's Brook and Run Well Fled. There is a possibility maybe we'll put a small double up on those 2. And if the double's beaten by one of our horses, beating the Calantra house horses, then we've made a profit for the year. So it's a possibility that bet could go up. It will go up tonight if it's going up. I'll try to put any bet video up the night before at least. We have got a lot of the bank to put off. I'd like to wish you all a good festival. I hope that you do well. Thanks very much for watching the videos. The numbers were hugely down last week, but there's so many videos out there now that that's understandable. I know that all the guys who normally watch were watching, so hopefully you have good bets off, and all I can say is hopefully Rachel Blackmore can bring home Tellmesomethinggiel, or Derek O'Connor can take home Vanillier and make the videos profitable. It's been enjoyable so far. Looking forward to tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.